Welcome back, everybody, to episode 7.5 of Sip, Read, Repeat. I'm not going to keep saying my name. Y'all know who I am by now. And I just wanted to give you this episode to kind of make up for the abrupt ending and the technical failure on my part for the last episode. So this episode is to kind of make up for that and to keep us on a really good pace. So I will try to give you just a little bit more content just to make up for the lack that was last episode. Okay, so last we left off, they had they being Nick and them went to the mall to press some folks about Amy's whereabouts. To come to find out that Amy went to the mall actually looking to buy a gun, and then we got an Amy diary entry where it was I think an anniversary party or something happening at their house, and her dad and Nick's dad came in and was being a huge dick to her, and she left, and she was kind of upset that Nick never came looking for her. So we're picking up right now with Nick. Nick Dunn, 4 days gone. Rand and I sat in the vacant Find Amy Dunn headquarters at 5 in the morning, drinking coffee, while we waited for the cops to check out Lonnie. Amy stared at us from her poster perched on the wall. Her photo looked distressed. I just don't understand why she wouldn't say anything to you if she was afraid, Rand said. Why wouldn't she tell you? Amy had come to the mall to buy a gun on Valentine's Day, of all days. That's what our friend Lonnie had said. She was a little abashed, a little nervous. Maybe I'm being silly, but I just really think I need a gun. Mostly, though, she was scared. Someone was unnerving her, she told Lonnie. She gave no more details, but when he asked her what kind of gun she wanted, she said, one that stops someone fast. He told her to come back in a few days, and she did. He hadn't been able to get her one. It's not really my bag, man. But now he wished he had. He remembered her well. Over the months, he'd wondered how she was now and then. This sweet blonde with the fearful face trying to get a gun on Valentine's Day. Who would she be afraid of, Rand asked. Tell me about Desi again, Rand, I said. Did you ever meet him? He came to the house a few times, Rand frowned, remembering. He was a nice-looking kid, very solicitous of Amy, treated her like a princess. But I just never liked him, even when things were good with them. Young love, Amy's first love. Even then, I disliked him. He was very rude to me, inexplicably so. Very possessive of Amy, arms around her at all times. I found it strange, very strange, that he wouldn't try to be nice to us. Most young men want to get in good with the parents. I wanted to, and you did, he smiled. You were just the right amount of nervous. It was very sweet. Desi wasn't anything but nasty. Desi's less than an hour out of town. True. And Hillary Handy, Rand said, rubbing his eyes. I don't want to be sexist here. She was scarier than Desi, because that Lonnie guy at the mall, he didn't say Amy was afraid of a man. No, he just said she was afraid, I said. There is that Noelle Hawthorne girl, the one who lives near us. She told the police she was best friends with Amy, when I know she wasn't. They weren't even friends. Her husband says she's been in hysterics, that she was looking at pictures of Amy crying. At the time, I thought they were internet photos, but what if they were actual photos she had of Amy? What if she was stalking Amy? She tried to talk to me when I was a little busy yesterday, Rand said. She quoted some Amazing Amy stuff at me. Amazing Amy and the Best Friend War, actually. Best friends are the people who know us best. Sounds like Hillary, I said, all grown up. We met Bonnie and Gilpin just after 7 a.m. at an IHOP out along the highway for a showdown. It was ridiculous that we were doing their job for them. It was insane that we were the ones discovering leads. It was time to call in the FBI if the local cops couldn't handle it. A plump, amber-eyed waitress took our orders, poured us coffee, and clearly recognizing me, lingered within eavesdropping distance until Gilpin scattered her away. She was like a determined housefly, though. Between drink refills and dispensing of utensils and the magically quick arrival of our food, our entire harangue came in limp bursts. This is unacceptable. No more coffee, thanks. It's unbelievable that, sure, rye is fine. Before we were done, Boney interrupted. I understand, guys. It's natural to want to feel involved. But what you did was dangerous. You have got to let us handle this kind of thing. That's just it, though. You aren't handling it, I said. You'd never have gotten this information about the gun if we didn't go out there last night. What did Lonnie say when you talked to him? Same thing he said to you. Or excuse me, same thing you said he said, Gilpin said. Amy wanted to buy a gun. She was scared. You don't seem that impressed by this information, I snapped. Do you think he was lying? We don't think he was lying, Boney said. There's no reason for the guy to invite police attention to himself. He seemed very struck by your wife. Very, I don't know, rattled that this had happened to her. He remembered specific details. Nick, he said she was wearing a green scarf that day. You know, not a winter scarf, but a fashion statement scarf. She made fluttery moves with her fingers to show she thought fashion to be childish, unworthy of her intention. Emerald green. Ring a bell? I nodded. She has one she wears with blue jeans a lot. And a pin on her jacket. A gold cursive A? Yes. Boney shrugged. Well, that settles it. You don't think he might have been so struck by her that he kidnapped her? I asked. He has an alibi. Rock solid, Boney said, giving me a pointed look. To tell the truth, we've begun to look for a different kind of motive. Something more personal, Gilpin added. He looked dubiously at his pancakes, topped with strawberries and puffs of whipped cream. He began scraping them to the side of his plate. More personal, I said. So does that mean you're finally going to talk to Desi Collins or Hillary Handy? Or do I need to? I had, in fact, promised Mary Beth I'd go today. Sure, we will, Boney said. She had the placating tone of a girl promising her pesky mom to eat better. We doubted to lead, but we'll talk to them. Well, great. Thanks for doing your job. Kind of, I said. And what about Noelle Hawthorne? If you want someone close to home, she's right in our complex. And she seems a little obsessed with Amy. I know, she's called us, and she's on our list, Gilpin nodded. Today. Good. What else are you doing? Nick, we'd actually like you to make some time for us. Let us pick your brain a bit more, Bonnie said. Spouses often know more than they realize. We'd like you to think a bit more about the argument that barn burner your neighbor, Mrs. Tavera, overheard you and Amy having the other night before she went missing. Rand's head jerked toward me. Jan Tavera, the Christian casserole lady who wouldn't meet my eye anymore. I mean, could it have been because, I know this is hard to hear, Mr. Elliot, because Amy was under the influence of something? Boney asked, innocent eyes. I mean, maybe she has had contact with less savory elements in town. There are plenty of other drug dealers. Maybe she got in over her head, and that's why she wanted a gun. There's got to be a reason she wants a gun for protection and doesn't tell her husband. And Nick, we'd like you to think harder about where you were between that time, the time of the argument, about 11 p.m., the last anyone heard Amy's voice. Besides me. Besides you. And noon, when you arrived at your bar. If you were out and about in this town, driving to the beach, hanging around the dock area, someone must have seen you. Even if it was someone just, walking his dog. If you can help us, I think that would be really helpful, Gilpin finished. He speared a strawberry. They both watched me attentively, congenially. It'd be super helpful, Nick, Gilpin repeated more pleasantly. First time I'd heard about the argument, that they knew about it. And they choose to tell me in front of Rand. And they choose to pretend it wasn't a gotcha. Sure thing, I said. You mind telling us about what it is about? You mind telling us what it was about? Boney asked. The argument? What did Mrs. Tavera tell you it was about? I hate to take her word on it when I got you right here. She poured some cream into her coffee. It was such a nothing argument, I began. That's why I never mentioned it. Just both of us scrapping at each other the way couples do sometimes. Rand looked at me as if he had no clue what I was talking about. Scrapping? What is this scrapping of which you speak? It was just about dinner, I lied. About what we do for dinner for our anniversary. You know, Amy's a traditionalist about these things. The lobster, Rand interrupted. He turned to the cops. Amy cooks lobster every year for Nick. Right, but there's nowhere to get lobster in this town. Not alive, from a tank. So she was frustrated. I had the Houston reservation. I thought you said you didn't have a Houston reservation, Rand frowned. Well, yes, sorry. I'm getting confused. I just had the idea of the Houston reservation, but I really should have arranged to have some lobster flown in. The cops, each of them, raised an accidental eyebrow. How very fancy. It's not that expensive to do. Anyway, we were at this rotten loggerheads. And it was one of those arguments that got bigger than it should have. I took a bite of my pancakes. I could feel the heat rushing from under my collar. We were laughing about it within the hour. Huh, was all Bonnie said. And where are you on the treasure hunt? Gilpin said, or asked. I stood up, put down some money ready to go. I wasn't the one who was supposed to be playing defense here. Nowhere, not yet. Not right yet. It's hard to think clearly with so much going on. Okay, Gilpin said. It's less likely the treasure hunt is an angle, now that we know she was already feeling threatened months ago. But keep me in the loop anyway, okay? We all shuffled out into the heat. As Rand and I got into the car, Boney yelled out, Hey, is Amy still a 2, Nick? I frowned at her. A size 2, she repeated. Yes, she is, I think, I said. Yes, she is. Boney made a face and said, and got in her car. What do you think that was about? Rand asked. Those two? Who knows? We remained silent for most of the way to the hotel. Rand staring out the window at the rows of fast food restaurants blinking by. Me thinking about my lie. My lies. We had to circle to find a space at the day's end. The payroll convention was apparently a hot ticket. You know, it's funny how provincial I am. Lifetime New Yorker, Rand said, fingers on the door handle. When Amy talked about moving back here, back along the old Mississippi River with you, I pictured green, farmland, apple trees, and those great old red barns. I have to tell you, it's really quite ugly here. He laughed. I can't think of a single thing of beauty in this whole town, except for my daughter. Damn. He got out and strode quickly toward the hotel, and I didn't try to catch up. I entered the headquarters a few minutes behind him, took a seat at a secluded table toward the back of the room. I needed to complete the treasure hunt before the clues disappeared, figure out where Amy had been taking me. After a few hours stint here, I deal with the third clue. In the meantime, I dialed. Yeah, came an impatient voice. A baby was crying in the background. I could hear the woman blow the hair off her face. Hi, is this Hillary Handy? She hung up. I phoned back. Hello? Hi there. I think we got cut off before. Would you put this number on your do not call list? Hillary. I'm not selling anything. I'm calling about Amy Dunn. Amy Elliott. Silence. The baby squawked again, a mule that wavered dangerously between laughter and tantrum. What about her? I don't know if you've seen her on TV, but she's gone missing. She went missing on July 5th under potentially violent circumstances. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Nick Dunn, her husband. I've just been calling old friends of hers. Oh yeah? I wondered if you had any contact with her recently. She breathed into the phone, 3 deep breaths. Is this because of that bullshit back in high school? Further in the background, a child's wheedling voice yelled out, Mom, I need you. In a minute, Jack, she called into the void behind her, then returned to me with a bright red voice. Is that why you're calling me? Because that was 20 goddamn years ago. More. I know. Look, I have to ask. I'd be an asshole not to ask. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm a mother of 3 kids now. I haven't talked to Amy since high school. I learned my lesson. If I saw her on the street, I'd run the other way. The baby howled. I gotta go. Just real quick, Hillary. She hung up. And immediately, my disposable vibrated. I ignored it. I had to find a place to stow the damn thing. I could feel the presence of someone, a woman, near me, but I didn't look up, hoping she would go away. It's not even noon and you already look like you had a full day. Poor baby. Shauna Kelly. She had her hair pulled up in a high bubblegum girl ponytail. She aimed gloss lips at me in a sympathetic pout. You ready for some of my Frito pie? She was bearing a casserole dish, holding it just below her breasts, the saran wrap dappled with sweat. She said the words like she was the star of some 80s rock hair video. You want some of my pie? Big breakfast. Thanks, though. That's really kind of you. Instead of going away, she sat down. Under a turquoise tennis skirt, her legs were lotioned so well they reflected. She kicked me with the toe of an unblemished Tretorn. Tretorn? You sleeping, sweetie? I'm holding up. You've got to sleep, Nick. You're no good to anyone if you're exhausted. I might leave in a little bit, see if I can grab a few hours. I think you should. I really do. I felt a sudden keen gratitude to her. It was my mama's boy attitude rising up. Dangerous. Crush it, Nick. I waited for her to go. She needed to go. People were beginning to watch us. If you want, I can drive you home right now, she said, and that might be just the thing for you. She reached out to touch my knee, and I felt a burst of rage that she didn't realize she needed to go. Leave the casserole, you clingy groupie whore, and go. Daddy's boy attitude rising up. Just as bad. Why don't you check in with Mary Beth? I said brusquely, and pointed to my mother-in-law by the Xerox, making endless copies of Amy's photo. Okay. She lingered. I began ignoring her outright. I'll leave you to it then. Hope you like the pie. The dismissal I had stung her. I could tell, because she made no eye contact as she left. She turned and sauntered off. I felt bad, debated apologizing, making nice, but do not go after that woman, I ordered myself. Any news? It was Noelle Hawthorne, entering the same space Shauna had just vacated. She was younger than Shauna, but seemed older. A plump body with dour, wide-spaced mounds for breasts. A frown on her face. Not so far. You sure seem to be handling it all okay. I twitched my head at her, unsure what to say. Do you even know who I am? She asked. Of course, you're Noelle Hawthorne. I'm Amy's best friend here. I had to remind the police. There were only two options with Noelle. She was either a lying publicity whore, she liked the cachet of being pals with a missing woman, or she was crazy. A stalker determined to befriend Amy, and when Amy shirked her, do you have any information about Amy, Noelle? I asked. Of course I do, Nick. She was my best friend. We stared each other down for a few seconds. Are you gonna share it? I asked. The police know where to find me, if they ever get around to it. That's super helpful, Noelle. I'll make sure they talk to you. Her cheeks blazed red, two expressionless splatters of color. She went away. I thought the unkind thought, one of those that burbled up beyond my control. I thought, women are fucking crazy. No qualifier. Not some women, not many women. Women are crazy. Once night fell fully, I drove to my dad's vacant house, Amy's clue on the seat beside me. Maybe you feel guilty for bringing me here. I must admit, it felt a bit queer. But it's not like we had the choice of many a place. We made a decision. We made this our space. Let's take our love to this little brown house. Give me some goodwill, you hot, loving spouse. This one was more cryptic than the others, but I was sure I had it right. Amy was conceding Carthage, finally forgiving me for moving back here. Maybe you feel guilty for bringing me here, but we made this our space. The little brown house was my father's house, which was actually blue, but Amy was making another inside joke. I'd always liked our inside jokes the best. They made me feel more connected to Amy than any amount of confessional truth-telling or passionate lovemaking or talk till sunrising. The little brown house story was about, I lost the line. The little brown house story was about my father, and Amy's the only person I've ever told it to. That after the divorce, I saw him so seldom that I decided to think of him as a character in a storybook. He was not my actual father, who would have loved me and spent time with me, but a benevolent and vaguely important figure named Mr. Brown, who was very busy doing very important things for the United States, and who, very occasionally, used me as a cover to move more easily about town. Amy got tears in her eyes when I told her this, which I hadn't meant. I meant it as kids are funny story. She told me she was my family now, that she loved me enough to make up for 10 crappy fathers, and that we were now the Duns, the two of us. And then she whispered in my ear, I do have an assignment you might be good for. As for bringing back the goodwill, that was another consolation. After my father was completely lost to Alzheimer's, we decided to sell his place. So Amy and I went through the house, putting together boxes for goodwill. Amy, of course, was a whirling dervish of doing, pack, store, toss, while I sifted through my father's things glacially. For me, everything was a clue. A mug with deeper coffee stains than the others must be his favorite. Was it a gift? Who gave it to him? Or did he buy it himself? I pictured my father finding the very act of shopping emasculating. Still, an inspection of his closet revealed 5 pairs of shoes, shiny, new, still in their boxes. Had he bought these himself, picturing a different, more social Bill Dunn than the one who's slowly unspooling alone? Did he go to Shooby Dooby, get my mother to help him? Just another in a long line of her casual kindnesses? Of course, I didn't share any of these musings with Amy, so I'm sure I came off as the gold bricker I so often am. Here, a box for goodwill, she said. Catching me on the floor, leaning against the wall, staring at a shoe. You put the shoes in the box, okay? I was embarrassed. I snarled at her, she snapped at me, and the usual. I should add, in Amy's defense, that she'd asked me twice if I wanted to talk, if I was sure I wanted to do this. I sometimes leave out details like that. It's more convenient for me. In truth, I wanted her to read my mind so I didn't have to stoop to the womanly art of articulation. I was sometimes as guilty of playing the figure me out game as Amy was. I've left that bit of information out too. I'm a big fan of the lie of omission. I pulled up in front of my dad's house just after 10 p.m. It was a tidy little place, a good starter home, or ender home. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, dining room, dated but decent kitchen. A for sale sign rusted in the front yard. 1 year and not a bite. I entered the stuffy house, the heat rolling over me. The budget alarm system we installed after the 3rd break-in began beeping, like a bomb countdown. I input the code, the one that drove Amy insane because it went against every rule about codes. It was my birthday, 8/15/77. Code rejected. I tried again. Code rejected. A bead of sweat rolled down my back. Amy had always threatened to change the code. She said it was pointless to have one that was so guessable, but I knew the real reason. She resented that it was my birthday and not our anniversary. Once again, I'd chosen me over us. My semi-sweet nostalgia for Amy disappeared. I stabbed my finger at the numbers again, growing more panic as the alarm beeped and beeped and beeped its countdown, until it went into full intruder blare. Wonk, wonk, wonk. My cell was supposed to ring so I could give the all clear. Just me, the idiot, but it didn't. I waited a full minute. The alarm reminded me of a torpedoed submarine movie. The canned heat of a closed house in July shimmered over me. My shirt back was already soaked. God damn it, Amy. I scanned the alarm for the company's number and found nothing. I pulled over a chair and began yanking at the alarm. I had it off the wall, hanging by the cords, when my phone finally rang. A bitchy voice on the other end demanded Amy's first pet's name. Wonk, wonk, wonk. It was exactly the wrong tone. Smug, petulant, utterly unconcerned. And exactly the wrong question, because I didn't know the answer, which infuriated me. No matter how many times or how many clues I solved, I'd be faced with some Amy trivia to unman me. Look, this is Nick Dunn. This is my dad's house. This account was set up by me, I snapped. So it doesn't really fucking matter what my wife's first pet name was. Wonk, wonk, wonk. Please don't take that tone with me, sir. Look, I just came in to grab one thing from my dad's house and now I'm leaving, okay? I have to notify the police immediately. Can you just turn off the goddamn alarm so I can think? Wonk, wonk, wonk. The alarm's off. The alarm is not off. Sir, I warned you once. Do not take that tone with me. Fucking bitch. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. I hung up just as I remembered Amy's cat's name. The very first one. Stuart. I called back, got a different operator, a reasonable operator, one who turned the alarm off, and God bless her, called off the police. I really wasn't in the mood to explain myself. I sat on the thin, cheap carpet and made myself breathe, my heart clattering. After a minute, after my shoulders untensed and my jaw unclenched and my hands unfisted and my heart returned to normal, I stood up and momentarily debated just leaving, as if that would teach Amy a lesson. But as I stood up, I saw a blue envelope left on the kitchen counter, like a Dear John note. I took a deep breath, blew it out. New attitude, and opened the envelope. Pulled out the letter marked with a heart. Hi, darling. So we both have things we want to work on. For me, it'd be my perfectionism, my occasional wishful thinking, self-righteousness. For you, I know you worry that you're sometimes too distant, too removed, unable to be tender or nurturing. Well, I want to tell you, here in your father's house, that isn't true. You are not your father. You need to know that you are a good man. You are a sweet man. You are kind. I punished you for not being able to read my mind sometimes, for not being able to act in exactly the way I wanted you to act right at exactly that moment. I punished you for being a real breathing man. I ordered you around instead of trusting you to find your way. I didn't give you the benefit of the doubt that no matter how much you and I blunder, you always love me and and want me to be happy. And that should be enough for any girl, right? I worry I've said things about you that aren't actually true, and that you've come to believe them. So I am here to tell you now, you are warm. You are my son. S-U-N, not like she's sonning him. If Amy were here with me, as she planned on being, she would have nuzzled into me the way she used to do, her face in the crook of my neck, and she would have kissed me and smiled and said, "You are, my son." My throat tight, I took a final look around my father's house and left, closing the door on the heat. In my car, I fumbled open the envelope marked fourth clue. We had to be near the end. Picture me. I'm a girl who is very bad. I need to be punished, and by punished, I mean had. It's where you store goodies for anniversary 5. Pardon me if this is getting contrived. A good time was had here right at sunny midday. Then out for a cocktail, also terribly gay. So run there right now, full of sweet sighs, and open the door for your big surprise. My stomach seized. I didn't know what this one meant. I reread it. I couldn't even guess. Amy had stopped taking it easy on me. I wasn't going to finish the treasure hunt after all. I felt a strange surge of angst. What a fucking day. Boney was out to get me, Noelle was insane, Shauna was pissed, Hillary was resentful, the woman at security company was a bitch, and my wife had stumped me, finally. It was time to end this goddamn day. There was only one woman I could stand to be around right now. Go took one look at me, rattled, tight-lipped, and heat-exhausted from my dad's, and parked me on the couch. Announced she'd make some late dinner. 5 minutes later, she was stepping carefully toward me, balancing my meal on an ancient TV tray. An old done standby, grilled cheese and barbecue chips. A plastic cup of, it's not Kool-Aid, Go said, it's beer. Kool-Aid seemed a little too regressive. This is very nurturing and strange of you, Go. You're cooking tomorrow. Hope you like canned soup. She sat down on the couch next to me, stole a chip from my plate, and asked, too casually, any thoughts on why the cops would ask me if Amy was still a size 2? Jesus, they won't fucking let that go, I said. Doesn't it freak you out? Like they found her clothes or something? They'd have asked him to identify them, right? She thought about that a second, her face pinched. That makes sense, she said. Her face remained pinched until she caught me looking, then she smiled. I taped the ball game. Wanna watch? You okay? I'm okay. I felt awful. My stomach greasy, my psyche crackling. Maybe it was the clue I couldn't figure out, but I suddenly felt like I'd overlooked something. I'd made some huge mistake, and my error would be disastrous. Maybe it was my conscience scratching back to the surface from the secret oblette. Never heard that word before. Go pulled up the game and, for the next 10 minutes, remarked on the game only, and only between sips of her beer. Go didn't like grilled cheese. She was scooping peanut butter out of the jar onto saltines. When a commercial break came on, she paused and said, if I had a dick, I would fuck this peanut butter, deliberately spraying cracker bits toward me. I think if you had a dick, all sorts of bad things would happen. She fast-forwarded through a nothing inning, cards trailing by 5. When it was time for the next commercial break, Go paused and said, so I called to change my cell phone plan today, and the whole song was Lionel Richie. Do you ever listen to Lionel Richie? I like Penny Lover, but the song wasn't Penny Lover. But anyway, then a woman came on the line, and she said the customer service reps are all based in Baton Rouge, which was strange, because she didn't have an accent, but she said she grew up in New Orleans. And it's a little known fact that, what do you call someone from New Orleans? A New Orleansian? Anyway, they don't have much of an accent. She said for my package A, Go and I had a game inspired by our mom. Who had a habit of telling such outrageously mundane, endless stories that Go was positive she had to be secretly fucking with us? For about 10 years now, whenever Go and I hit a conversation low, one of us would break in with a story about appliance repair coupon fulfillment. Go had more stamina than I did, though. Her stories would drone on, seamlessly, forever. They went on so long they became genuinely annoying and then swung back around to hilarious. Go was moving on to a story about her refrigerator light and showed no signs of faltering. Filled with a sudden heavy gratefulness, I leaned across the couch and kissed her on the cheek. What's that for? Just thanks. I felt my eyes get full with tears. I looked away for a second to blink them off, and Go said, so I needed a AAA battery, which, as it turns out, is different from a transistor battery. So I had to find a receipt and return the transistor battery. We finished watching the game. Cards lost. When it was over, Go switched TV to mute. You want to talk, or do you want more distraction? Whatever you need. You go on to bed, Go. I'm just going to flip around. Probably sleep. I need to sleep. You want an Ambien? My twin was a staunch believer in the easiest way. No relaxation tapes or whale noises for her. Pop a pill, get unconscious. Nah, they're in the medicine cabinet if you change your mind. If there was ever a time for assisted sleep. She hovered over me for just a few seconds. Then, Go-like, trotted down the hall, clearly not sleepy, and closed her door, knowing that the kindest thing was to leave me alone. A lot of people lack that gift, knowing when to fuck off. People love talking, and I have never been a huge talker. I carry on an inner monologue, but the words often don't reach my lips. She looks nice today, I think, but somehow it wouldn't occur to me to say it out loud. My mom talked. My sister talked. I've been raised to listen. So sitting on the couch by myself, not talking, felt decadent. I leafed through one of Go's magazines, flipped through the TV channels, finally alighting on an old black and white show. Men in fedoras scribbling notes while a pretty housewife explained that her husband was away in Fresno, which made the two cops look at each other significantly and nod. I thought of Gilpin and Bonnie and my stomach lurched. In my pocket, my disposable cell phone made a mini jackpot sound that meant I had a text. I'm outside. Open the door. His disposable. I don't think they mentioned who he's been talking to on that yet, right? Interesting. Okay. Amy Elliott Dunn. April 28th, 2011. Diary entry. Just got to keep on keeping on. That's what Mama Mo says. And when she says it, her sureness. Each word emphasized. As if it really were a viable life strategy. The cliche stops being a set of words and turns into something real. Valuable. Keep on keeping on. Exactly, I think. I do love that about the Midwest. People don't make a big deal about everything. Not even death. Mama Mo will just keep on keeping on until the cancer shuts her down. And then she will die. So I'm keeping my head down and making the best of a bad situation. And I mean that in the deep, literal Mama Mo usage. I keep my head down and do my work. I drive Mo to doctor's appointments and chemo appointments. I change the sickly water in the flower vase in Nick's father's room. And I drop off cookies for the staff so they take good care of him. I'm making the best of a really bad situation. And the situation is mostly bad because my husband, who brought me here, who uprooted me to be closer to his ailing parents, seems to have lost all interest in both me and said ailing parents. Nick has written off his father entirely. He won't even say the man's name. I know every time we get a phone call from the Comfort Hill, Nick is hoping it's the announcement that his dad is dead. As for Mo, Nick sat with his mom during a single chemo session and pronounced it unbearable. He said he hated hospitals, he hated sick people, he hated the slowly ticking time, the IV bag dripping molasses slow. He just couldn't do it. And when I tried to talk him back into it, when I tried to stiffen his spine with some gotta do what you gotta do, he told me to do it. So I did. I have. Mama Mo, of course, takes on the burden of his blame. We sat one day, partly watching a romantic comedy on my computer, but mostly chatting while the IV dripped. So slowly. And as the spunky heroine tripped over a sofa, Mo turned to me and said, "Don't be too hard on Nick about not wanting to do this kind of thing. I just always doted on him. I babied him. How could you not? That face." And so he has trouble doing hard things. But I truly don't mind, Amy. Truly. You should mind, I said. You should mind. My mom raised 2 boys. She didn't dote on us. And I'm sure at times I know as a child, there are times I wish she was a bit softer. But I'm glad that I can do the things. Like, I'm not soft. I can take care of myself for sure. Nick doesn't have to prove his love for me, she said, patting my hand. I know he loves me. I admire Mo's unconditional love. I do. So I don't tell her what I have found on Nick's computer, the book proposal for a memoir about a Manhattan magazine writer who returns to his Missouri roots to take care for both his ailing parents. Nick has all sorts of bizarre things on his computer, and sometimes I can't resist a little light snooping. It gives me a clue as to what my husband is thinking. His search history gave me the latest, noir films and the website of his old magazine and a study on the Mississippi River, whether it's possible to free float from here to the Gulf. I know what he pictures, floating down the Mississippi like Huck Finn and writing an article about it. Nick is always looking for angles. I was nosing through all this when I found the book proposal. Double Lives, a memoir of ends and beginnings, will especially resonate with the Gen X males, the original man boys, who are just beginning to experience the stress and pressures involved with caring for aging parents. In Double Lives, I will detail my growing understanding of a troubled, once distant father, my painful, forced transformation from a carefree young man into the head of a family as I deal with the imminent death of a much-loved mother, the resentment my Manhattanite wife feels at this detour in her previously charmed life. My wife, it should be mentioned, is Amy Elliott Dunn, the inspiration for the best-selling Amazing Amy series. This nigga just be doing too much. The proposal was never completed, I assume because Nick realized he wasn't going to ever understand his once distant father, and because Nick was shirking all head of family duties, and because I wasn't expressing any anger about my new life. A little frustration, yes, but no book-worthy rage. For so many years, my husband has lauded the emotional solidity of Midwesterners, stoic, humble, without affection. But these aren't the kinds of people who provide good memoir material. Imagine a jacket copy. People behaved mostly well, and then they died. Still, it stings a bit, the resentment my Manhattanite wife feels. Maybe I do feel stubborn. I think of how consistently lovely Maureen is, and I worry that Nick and I were not meant to be matched, that he would be much happier with a woman who thrills at husband care and homemaking. And I'm not disparaging these skills. I wish I had them. I wish I cared more, that Nick always has his favorite toothpaste, that I know his collar size off the top of my head, that I am an unconditional loving woman whose greatest happiness is making my man happy. I was that way for a while with Nick, but it was unsustainable. I'm not selfless enough. Only child, as Nick points out regularly. But I try. I keep on keeping on. And Nick runs around town like a kid again. He's happy to be back in his rightful prom king place. He dropped about 10 pounds. He got a new haircut. He bought new jeans. He looks freaking great. But I only know that from the glimpses of him coming home or going back out. Always in a pretend hurry. You wouldn't like it, his standard response anytime I ask to come with him, wherever it is he goes. Just like he jettisoned his parents where they were of no use to him, he's dropping me because I don't fit in his new life. He'd have to work to make me comfortable here, and he doesn't want to do that. He wants to enjoy himself. Stop it. I must look on the bright side. Literally, I must take my husband out of my dark, shadowy thoughts and shine some cheerful golden light on him. I must do better at adoring him like I used to. Nick responds to adoration. I just wish it felt more equal. My brain is so busy with Nick thoughts, it's a swarm inside my head. Nick. And when I picture his mind, I hear my name as a shy crystal ping that occurs once, maybe twice a day, and quickly subsides. I just wish he thought about me as much as I do him. Is that wrong? I don't even know anymore. That is the perfect place to stop. We're going to stop right there. It looks like I get my answer as to who he's talking about or talking to in his cell phone, but we're going to wait until the next episode to get there. Thank you again for you guys' understanding for having this extra episode. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for rocking with me. Until next time. Peace, y'all.